Hello, beautiful people. My name is WiseAïcha, right? And I think when I picked the title for this special show, I didn't come to realize what kinds of responsibility I would have. And I just want to say that I titled myself WiseAïcha off of something that, people would always tell me. But I do want to say that what I've come to realize with this title is that I have a lot to learn about my life, about the world. And I think that's what it really excites me about doing these shows and to talk about these different topics, because I get to revisit how I once felt about things or to reinforce how I still feel about things. I want to come to talk to everybody today about what's currently going on in our world. We have the COVID-19 pandemic, but we also have a pandemic that's been pervasive, that's been around in our world, in our global societies for centuries. And that pandemic is racism. It has desecrated, it has obliterated cultures. There's so many things that has come from racist ideology and racism. But I want to acknowledge that racism is an ideology, and it is a social construct. It is a belief system that only gets to be enacted and empowered if we believe in it. And when I say we, I'm talking about humanity. Now, it's clearly, apparent that Black people cannot ignore the impacts of racism because we live it, we deal it, we breathe it. We definitely do. But I want to talk about the fact that the current riots and the civil unrest, all of these things are connected to the fact that we've been dealing with so much oppression within our societies that it's boiling up to the top. And so I completely empathize and I understand the anger that's coming from everyone, the emotions that's coming. I can feel it. It can be numbing, but it can also be extremely impactful. So what I wanted to say is that Black Lives Matter. It's a very simple phrase, but Black Lives Matter. And no matter what kind of Black life you have, there's no justification for you being hunted, murdered, for you to be oppressed, for you to be demeaned. All Black lives matter, regardless of your past or your present. Now, we could talk about things that you may have done that's problematic, but I would still like to say that all Black lives matters. Black lives matter. And I've been crying every single time I've been watching videos. Every time I see the posts, I've been crying. Every time I hear the speeches from the strong Black women and men that go out and speak, it has made me emotional because I can no longer hold in what I've been numbing. The fear that I've been feeling for my life, the fear that I've been feeling for my brothers' lives, for my community, the fear that I have when I'm traveling. There's constant fear as a Black person within our societies. And so this situation, the current ongoings, are just an actual physical manifestation of what all of us have been feeling internally. Can you imagine the chaos, the fear that we've been feeling internally? Can you imagine that those fires represent the fear that we have inside of us? I also want to talk about the fact that there's a spiritual component. I believe there's a spiritual component to everything. Racism and the COVID-19 virus have a lot in common. This COVID-19 pandemic and the riots, the police brutality going to the top brim, and everyone basically asking for visibility and asking for justice. All of these things are intertwined. Have you not noticed? The COVID-19 virus is a respiratory illness. And what is the main slogan of the Black Lives Matter movement currently? What is the main thing that you've heard most of our men and women being killed say? The phrase is, "I can't breathe." Now, if you don't think that's spiritual or that that's a coincidence, if you think that's a coincidence, then I think you'd be remiss. You would be missing out on a lot of different connections that you can make within our society and our world today. We have to face this head on. We can no longer pretend that racism doesn't exist. We can no longer pretend that we can't breathe, that we can't live freely, that we can't go out and jog, that we can't travel the world, that we can't be free. We can't pretend anymore. We can't pretend that your cool friends that love Black culture are really just fetishizing you. We can't pretend anymore. We must and we will overcome this period. But we have to overcome this period together. And when I say together, there's some people that won't be included. And it's okay. As an ally, you can be very helpful. You don't have to be included in all of the conversations. And I really mean that, like 100%. So when I say it's a spiritual battle, there's also an internal battle. There's an internal battle within us, within our psyche, within our physical bodies that's being manifested. We are currently having to choose between where we want to go and where we've always been. The decisions that we've made, have they been for the benefit of our people? Have they been for the benefit of ourselves? We're currently asking ourselves all of these questions during these times because it is important for us. Because once this period ends and the ashes from all these fires settle, we need to come to the realization that we need to fertilize the new grounds that we have with something positive and something of sustenance and importance for communities that have been oppressed for centuries. That's what I want to say to all of you. So the spiritual battle is within good, it's between good and evil as well. There's also a component that all of these things may be orchestrated in some way, either by man or by spirit, by a negative entity. Either way, all of these things are asking us to choose today what side of history and what side of humanity you want to be on. We are human beings. Black lives matter. And I truly believe that, and I say that 100%. And if you've ever doubted it, now you guys will have to pay attention. Thank you.